Folks, if you need some new camouflage, don't look any farther than ASIO gear. They have a great line of products that covers everything you could possibly need at a very reasonable price, especially if you use that code ECHO15 that they offer all of our listeners. And if you're worried about it, the stuff got a lifetime warranty, so if something goes wrong with it, they replace it, no questions asked. Go over to ASIOgear.com and check them out. If you need some new broadheads, you got to check out Razor Broadheads. They have an awesome, dependable head that is tough as nails. I've used them for the last 3 years, and the wound channel that these broadheads leave has been really impressive to me. They're super sharp, super accurate, and they offer 20% off if you use the code BTE. So go over to razorbroadheads.com and get some new broadheads. And then Stealth Outdoors. Hey, if you're not using stealth strips, you're not trying. Get your gear silenced with stealth strips. And then the product's not that expensive anyway, but if you use code BTE10, you get another 10% off. Now, just because it's not expensive doesn't mean it's not good quality stuff. This is the best silencing material on the market, hands down. Go over to stealthoutdoors.com. Hey, and then you got to have some saddle gear that you can use with your stealth strips. The guys over at Latitude make all kinds of great products, and right now on their website, they're offering 20% off everything. Their Method 2 saddle is actually 30% off. And then if you get over there and the sale's over or something, you're listening to this later on, use your code BTE and you go ahead and get 15% off everything. Go over to latitudeoutdoors.com if you need any saddle hunting gear. And finally, a new partner for the show, Hawke Optics. Listen, if you're in the market and you need some new optics, these guys offer a great product at an affordable price. They're also offering everybody 15% off if you use the code BTE. They got a line of everything you would need in all different price points, from rangefinders to binocular rangefinders to spotting scopes to all different types of rifle scopes and even some red dots. So go over to hawkeoptics.com and check them out. Use that code BTE, save you 15%. All my partners are in the description below. Go check them out. All right, let's get to the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Got repeat guest. You've been on like 3 or 4 times now, Jason.
I love being here.
Yeah.
I love the conversation. This is a good time.
I love talking to you, Jason.
Yeah.
Me and you are kind of cut from the same cloth as far as things we like to tinker with and stuff we enjoy, I think. So I could talk to you about not even hunting stuff probably for a couple hours tonight. But
yeah, life is good. That's what it's all about. Enjoy it. Yeah.
That's right.
I got a thing for Dave. I want to do the same thing. Hold on. How do you do it? Because I got the same broadhead.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Wait, there it is. Right there for Dave.
Is that the 300 grain one?
That is. I haven't used it yet on anything. I was going to use it on deer. Obviously for hogs, this is a lot of head to push through a big hog. But I'm excited to use it. But I thought I like his ad on your thing. Wait, there it is right there.
You can cover your head up with it. Yeah, I got a pack of those things. They're gnarly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good looking head. I love their heads. I love everything about them. I mean, they hold up really well. And that new oxide, that black finish one down here in the south, rust is a huge deal. I mean, my head's always like my main head that I use right now all the time. But I mean, you can look at it. I mean, look at the staining. Yep. This is one of their old original ones. And again, keep in mind, I'm hunting in 100% humidity. I'm in a sauna 99% of the time. So you get some of that rust on there. And I'm in, matter of fact, I was just out with James Wood and then Foster Kane, who makes Foster custom arrows. We just went out. We were hunting in a hailstorm and thunderstorms and, nonstop. I mean, so those things get wet all the time. Those oxide ones they have, those blackout ones or whatever they are, those coated ones, I never get a speck of rust on them at all. I don't have to clean nothing. Love those ones.
I don't have any of those. Not in the. I usually shoot the 200 grain head. I don't have any of those in the 200 grain. I got a bunch. I use it.
Yeah, I use that 250 is what I use.
They're coming out with a single bevel this year. Did you know that?
They have a single. They're all single bevels.
I mean double bevel. Sorry.
Oh no, I did not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like the single bevels. I really did.
I have no problem. I like the single bevel. But they're offering a 150 in the double bevel this year.
Yeah.
I think just for people that kind of want to, some people like the double bevel heads. So, yeah. And plus they're all great guys over there.
Agree 100%. And I'll tell you what, of all the heads I've shot, I've never had, I got to be pushing probably almost 3 dozen animals down with these razor heads. Yeah. And I have never had one chip, roll, damage, never had anything happen to one of their heads ever. Not one time have I ever had to correct or fix a head.
Yeah. Yeah. They're real good quality. I mean, you don't get any better really. You gotta, just like anything else, they're not a muzzy. You're not going to pay $40 for 6 of them, but
right.
They're also fly true and they spin good. And they're, I've never had one not fly great. Even that 300 grain head, I kind of was like, man, that's a big head, now I didn't shoot it out of a compound. I was shooting it out of my longbow, but it flew perfect.
Yeah. There's a lot of great heads out there, even the standard muzzies that we could get, or magnets. Remember when we could get 6 magnets for $30? It killed a ton of animals. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with them, but on those Magnus heads, I had to repair a lot of blades. Tip rolls, things happen. The A Boyer has been one that's been fantastic too, and I love A Boyer heads. They're a little softer, easier to sharpen, but I've also had some chattering and some issue. If you hit a rock, you damage that edge a little bit. They're an incredible head too. A Boyer is one of my all-time favorites. But that razor head, like I said, I've never once had any damage to one of those heads ever. Straight up love them.
Yep, and you've been hunting a lot lately.
That's what I love it, man. I love it down here. My God, I am just, I don't actually hunt as many hours like as I used to because, like when you're going on a rut vacation or you're doing something, man, you are hitting it with everything you got. You're there for a week. You give it every single second. Or like if you're just hunting a deer season, like up where you are, where people are hitting mainly a deer season, they're going to hit every second of that 90-day season as much as they can. When you hunt 365 nonstop down here, you find I'm getting out there still. I'm out there a minimum of 3 days a week, but it might only be for 4 hours a day sometimes. It's not like I'm, where when I would lived in Michigan and I would come down here and hunt them for a couple of weeks, I would come down here and I would go 3 days from before daylight till after daylight. Then my legs would be jello and I'd sit on the beach for 2 days to recover. And then we'd go do it again, where now it's like I'm 95 degrees and 100% humidity. It's a sauna in the swamp and it's an air fryer in the sun. And it's like, 4 or 5 hours is enough.
Yeah, I could see that. You've been down there for 3 years now, haven't you?
Yeah, 3 years.
That's crazy. I feel like you just moved down there.
Yep. I love it down here. There's things I miss about Michigan. I miss bow fishing. God, I miss being on Saginaw Bay and the bow fishing all summer long with the kids and all that fun. And we did that constantly. We'd be out there 4 nights a week, from, March all the way through till August. And I love that. I do definitely miss that. There's none down here where I am. I'd have to go to Florida really to get into it. So I miss that. And I do miss them. I miss Michigan deer hunting. There's a lot of deer in Michigan. There wasn't a ton of bucks where I was up in that northern Michigan area, but there was a lot of deer. You saw deer every time you were out there. You expected to anyway, multiple deer. And it was just, the cool, crisp mornings and even warming up during the day and, feeling that sun heat you up and just the stuff, that was there. And it just, and all the little stuff that comes with it, feeling that first freezing rain that hits you and you're like, oh God, okay, I'm gonna have to pull my straps off my stand when I get home tonight or they'll be froze by morning and all the all the stuff that comes with it, the first snow coming down, seeing deer coming in the snow. I do miss a lot of that, but like I said, the hunt down here for the hogs, being able to do a 365 wins for me hands down.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. You did a video recently about the difference between hunting down there and up in Michigan or Midwest, whatever you want to say. What I watched the video. If you guys haven't watched the video, you ought to go over and watch it. But what's the big difference, Jason? Like you have a lot more respect for the guys that deer hunt down there and get it done consistently.
I always thought, because I came from Michigan, which is one of the heaviest hunted states. You had Michigan and Pennsylvania. When I was growing up, there was 1 million deer hunters part of that Orange Army. It's dwindled down now, but that's what it was. Michigan was always one of the most heavily hunted places. Opening day of deer season was closed schools, that kind of stuff. And so I just thought I assumed I'm in a very pressured area. This is as good as much pressure as it gets, and this is how it is. And I'd hunted all over the Midwest and never seen pressure like what I saw in Michigan. People, what I see here, people have up north don't actually have any idea what pressure is, but it's a different pressure. I'm not dealing with the running into hunters like I normally do in Michigan because of the terrain and the topography down here is straight up brutal. It's brutal. And so that makes a big difference. And it's not hard to get away from where other people are. So you got that advantage. But what it is these animals are pressured so long. For example, our archery season starts like September 11th to 15th kind of thing, somewhere in there. And then it goes till October 13th. But on many WMAs, during that time, you might get 3 days of bow season and they kick in a full 3-day firearm season. And then you go 5 days of more bow season, and then they kick in a 3-day primitive muzzleloader season. And then you go another 8 days of archery season, and then you kick in from October 13th through January 15th is all firearm. So it's a whole different world. And then on top of that, you have small game hunting down here is on levels that we've never seen up north. These guys live, eat, and breathe the squirrel huntings. I mean, they're running dogs for them like crazy. These guys take this stuff serious. You got the upland hunters. You got people going everywhere. You got dog hunting seasons for running hogs. They run hogs with dogs. These guys with one group of people with a couple of dogs, they'll go out there and they'll kill 40 hogs in a weekend. So the pressure is that they put on these things. So these animals are basically pressured from August 15th when the season opens all the way until June 1st. Okay, they're pressured nonstop, 100%. So it does definitely make a big difference, And then anything deer sign that you think you see here in my corner of the world is covered up with so much hog sign that you can't even find it anymore. You can still find rubs, scrapes, but if there's a scrape on the ground, most of the time the hog's rooting in it anyway. And you never even know there's a scrape there. It's so it's a different world, and there's different parts of the state that are better. Northwest corner is phenomenal for deer. You got the bear up north. It's got a whole bunch of great things, but deer hunting wise, it is a different ball game because of everything that's there pressure wise. There's way lower deer numbers down here. We get 12 tags minimum for each person for deer. So there's a lot of animals hitting the ground, and it's all high power rifle. There's no shotgun zones here. So they can use whatever they want to. So, and these guys hunt hard. These people down here, they are hardcore. I mean, you got to understand they're out there and again, this place will try to kill you 10 different ways. If it's not heat stroke, and that kind of thing, you're going to get lost if you don't know what you're doing because you take 3 steps in and it all looks the same. And then everywhere you turn, there's either snakes or gators. And then if it's not them, it's the seed ticks and then the full ticks. And then it's the chiggers. If you sit on a log, you're going to wake up the next day and your whole rear end, legs, thighs, and everything in your back will look like you've been shredded with buckshot. The yellow flies. We have black flies up north. Those black flies, they suck, right? We deal with black flies. Down here, we have yellow flies. Yellow flies land on you, and they don't make a sound. You don't even know they're there. But then, here's one right here. Where's my camera at? Right there. Look at it. Look at that one coming in right there from today. And then there's one growing out right there that we just got done dealing with. But they land on you, and they bite. You don't even know it. And the next thing you know, you got whelps popping up everywhere. Wow. And, they're all over. So and you your entire time, 10 months of the year, you have a thermocell running and you're wearing bug spray. It's a different ball game. I love it, but it is so different from when I do my Midwest trips and I go up there and I get up there. It's just like,
I could definitely see how it would be super annoying down there. Yeah. I mean, especially like kudos to you because I guess I've been up, in Indiana for my whole life, and I think it would be miserable. I think I don't know if I'm tough enough to do it,
Well, you've been down here. You were down in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
You've hunted down here before. It's like for the hog stuff. And was that in summertime when you were down there with Clay and he ended up leaving? I didn't come down, but remember we were going to.
Yeah, that was in February.
Oh, okay, it was February. Okay, yeah, February down here is a beautiful time.
Yes.
February is nice. There's no bugs. There's no must. There's no fuss. There's no foliage. If it's green, it's because it's a food source. You know, I mean, it's like I said, it's a beautiful time. Temperatures are pretty mild. You know, you'll be 40, 30s or 40s in the morning and 50s in the afternoon, maybe a 60, 70-degree day. February is gorgeous. Right now, like right now, as we speak right now, what time? It's 8:15, and I'll bet it's still 88 degrees outside.
Yeah. Yeah. And then your guys' turkey season's going on right now too, right?
Correct. I don't hunt turkeys, so I'm using it as an opportunity for hogs.
Yeah. Why didn't you ever get in turkey hunting? Because you didn't. I've never known you as a turkey hunter, I guess.
No, because of bow fishing in Michigan, turkey season was bow fishing season, and I mean, you really can't do both because when you're bow fishing, you're getting on the water at 9 o'clock at night, and you're running until 4 or 5 in the morning. You can't then just get up and go turkey hunting. You know, in the morning. So it was always a one or the other thing. I have killed 2 turkeys with a bow before. One of them, my first one, not only did I shoot all 4 broadheads that were in my quiver at that bird, I had to walk over and pick arrows up and chase it down and shoot it there because I never touched it once with one of those arrows. And I had to go get another one. And luckily on that 6th arrow, so I had 4 arrows. I shot 4 and missed. And then he just wouldn't stop going, get out, you know, and but I shot 4 and missed. Finally, he took off around the thing and went over to Ben. I ran out there, grabbed 2 arrows, and I ran up and I stood up on a log and he was right there. And that's when I shot, missed again. He didn't know what would happen. Shot and hit him. And that was 20 years ago. It was the only bird I've ever killed with a recurve. And then I killed one with my longbow.
Oh, geez.
It was an adventure.
Yeah, sound like it. Oh, yeah. Sometimes them turkeys just want to die, and then sometimes you can't do anything to kill them, it seems like.
Well, and it's especially during turkey season. Now, I stalk a lot of birds here. Not by choice. Okay. Right. When you're working through River Cane and Palmetto and you're seeing this stuff moving and shaking, you know, and you're like, oh, that's hogs rooting. And then so here you go and you spend the next 45 minutes sneaking in there and trying to get in on them. And then you find out it's turkeys. You know, you're like, well, okay, but I'm already vested. So now I might as well see how close I can get. And you'd be amazed how many times I can, during non-turkey season, when I don't have a tag, how many times I can literally, wearing just a shirt like this in gray pants, I can literally get to within 20 yards of turkeys. You know, stalking, sneaking through that stuff because of the thicker cover down here. You know, it's not like walking through an open Midwest woods. You're in palmetto cane and things like that, but I can sneak right in on them and be in shooting range of them as long as it's not turkey season.
Right.
Yeah. Same with the squirrels. I'm out there right now hog hunting like crazy. And there's literally, I will sit on a tree and take a break for a minute, eat my cheese and crackers, and a squirrel will come right here and talk to me, you know, because it's not squirrel season.
Right. They know. Well, any animal just gets caught under that pressure, you know?
Yeah.
And that's funny. You mentioned squirrel hunting is big in the South, like that, the squirrel dog community down there, like those feist and mountain curs and stuff. That's a big thing down there.
Sure is. Yeah. They run them hard here and they take it very seriously. Like I said, it doesn't matter what kind of hunting it is, dove hunting even. I mean, I went to a WMA one time to hog hunt, and they had a dove hunt going on. And I mean, there had to be 100 trucks parked there, signing in, waiting to go to the different dove fields. I was like, what? And I didn't understand it. You know, I never seen nothing like it before.
I go down to Tennessee and hunt a lot. I love going to Tennessee hunting. Yep. But it was in August. I was down there in August deer hunting. They have that velvet hunt down there. And it was dove season was like the following week that before I got there, you know, and there was like people out scouting for them, you know, scouting for doves. And I'm like, I'm like, man, I don't know if I can get into that, you know. I mean, I would go and shoot some doves, I guess, and cook them up, but I don't know if I'm going to spend a bunch of time scouting for them and whatnot. But
right. And one thing about the guys down here too, I notice is that these guys are all well-rounded hunters. Yes. You know, like me, I'm more of a deer hunter. I'm a big game hunter. I don't do a lot of small game. I don't do any waterfowling. I don't do a lot of this kind of stuff. I kind of focus on what I do with the limited time I have to do it. You know, these guys down here, they know everything about everything. Doesn't matter if it's shooting docks for crappie, if it's, you know, dropping or running limb limes for catfish or turkey. They know everything about everything. When it comes to a sportsman, I've never met people as I have in the South that know as much as they do. These guys live, eat, and breathe 24/7 nonstop down here, and they're good and they're serious. You know, I have a lot of respect for the hunters down here, really do.
That's something that we kind of are losing in the Midwest and the North, really, is that like all around just outdoorsmen.
Yep. Yeah. Everybody focuses on one thing. Either they're into fishing, they're into deer hunting, whatever the case is, and they don't have the time anymore for this kind of thing. Yeah. Down here, they make the time. Like I said, there's so many people down here that are like us, that their lifestyle is being outside.
Yeah.
They fold their life around it, to make it happen.
Yeah.
And it's good to see. It's very refreshing to see.
It is.
Rather than, what you and I are used to, and we've been seeing for the last decade, is people that wear suits 24/7, and then they come out there for 2 weekends during deer season and hunt. The weekend warrior kind of thing, which we're used to, which is very common, and we get it because that's the way the world works today. Everybody's busy. Mm-hmm. Down here, those suits are replaced with camo 24/7. If I walk into any restaurant around here any time of the year, I can probably, if there's 100 people in there, 30 of them are wearing camo. It doesn't matter where or what, and it's just like I said, they love it. It's a beautiful place to be. That's the best way to put it. But it is so different from up north.
Yeah, that's something that me and my buddy Scott, he's from Kentucky, and he's a very well-rounded outdoorsman, And we were talking about that just the other day. It's like, man, there's nobody that just does a lot of different types of hunting anymore. And I think probably a lot. I mean, most guys, I quit squirrel hunting, I don't have time to do it, or I quit fishing, I don't have time to do it, I just deer hunt now. And yeah, like my grandpa in that era, guys, people that are passed on now, but like in the 60s and 70s, things just didn't consume people like they do now. Like people are so consumed by things, whether it be stuff or just paying for stuff, it's what generally consumes your life, is trying to pay for everything. But my grandpa, they didn't have internet bill, they didn't have a cell phone bill, they didn't have, nothing, they had one vehicle. I mean, whatever the case may be. And you just you had more time because you didn't have to spend as much money on things, I guess. There wasn't as much stuff to buy. So your time was, more plentiful, I guess. Best I can figure.
For sure. I agree 100%. Even if, I'm 51 years old. I even look at it now. If you just go back to just before Bella was born, she's 24 now, almost 24 now. But back then there wasn't much internet that we were doing. It was there, but we weren't using it a whole lot 25 years ago. There wasn't all this technology. There wasn't all these other things that we had to deal with. And now it's a whole different ballgame, and people are consumed, but not only consumed, they spend so much of their day social media. I haven't been on Facebook or Instagram in months. I just don't have the time for it anymore. I'm, putting out so much content between all three channels. I don't have the time. It's like I have to find something to give, and so you got to start cutting things out to make the time for that other stuff. But it's hard to do. We spend so much time every single day being consumed by everything around us.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, and that's to this day. Like my grandma lives next door to me. She's 94, and she still doesn't have internet or any of that stuff at her house. Never has owned a computer or any of that. And I'm like, sometimes I'm jealous of that a little bit. Like, just, I don't know. She doesn't have all this like weird influence in her life, that we all have being on the internet.
Yep. I got a lady that lives right down the road from me, and I caught her the other day. I was out there going to get the mail, and she was coming by. We were just chatting by, out there. She was walking to get her exercise. Again, probably in her late 80s as well, too. We were talking, and she said, I went up to that one restaurant. I can't remember which one she said. I think it was Jim and Nick's restaurant. They opened here, and she's like, I went up there, and I went to go get a pork sandwich, and they wanted $11.95 for this sandwich. I turned around and walked right out. What are they thinking? I went right to the store, bought my own pork butt, came home, made this, and she all this stuff. And yet she lives in like the biggest house in the area, but this is the world, and it's just that's how they got to be where they did and the way they live. And they're like, no, we fend for ourselves. We do, and those days are gone. It's a different world now.
Yeah. I got to show you something. It's hanging over here in the wall. I'll be right back, though.
All right.
So my grandpa, like I said, was a big outdoorsman. He loved to fish, and he only had like 2 fishing poles, though. For a guy that like fished almost every day of his life, he would just change the line out. Like nowadays, people would just buy another fishing pole.
Right.
They didn't have to change the line out, but he would just take the time to change his line if he needed to fish different heavy, different weight of line or whatever the case may be. But I still have his rod, and it was in bad shape. Like all the eyes were corroded off, and just the cork was corroded. And I took it to this old man. He was 82, and I put a post on the Facebook the other day that I was trying to find someone to refurbish my grandpa's fishing rod. And someone local called me, and they're like, "You got to take it to this guy. He's not on Facebook. Nobody knows who he is except for locals around here. He builds jigs and builds fishing rods for people." And so I took it over there and dropped it off. And like, he called me the next day, and he had like,
wow,
he'd redone the cork, and refinished the rod, put all brand new eyes on it. He like redid this is a 2-piece rod,
Yep.
And I brought $100. Like, he didn't tell me how much it was going to be. And I was like, I'll bring $100 because this seemed like a lot of work to me. He charged me $40 to do it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful too. And now it'll just keep living on and keep getting handed down.
That's what he said. He's like, "Oh, it's as good as new now. You can take it and just, go with it." And it's an old Zebco 33 reel, and he, I didn't even ask him to do that. And he's like, "Just leave that reel on there and I'll, and he went through it and it works just like it's new again.
Yeah.
And he redid the handle. He like sanded it all up and repainted it. And
looks amazing.
Oh, I know. I told him, I was like, "You only want $40? And he's like, "Yeah, that's fine." But yeah.
And a lost art, like you said, people today don't do that. They just throw that stuff out and they replace it. There's no value to that. Yep.
And that's what I told him. And I'm like, "That rod isn't worth $5, but to me, it's worth $5,000. And he's like, "Yeah, I get that." And he's like, "I'll take care of it for you." And I'm like, dang, he really did. So, I was pumped about that. I want to put line on it and go catch a couple fish with it, but I'm kind of thinking I'm just go hang it up somewhere in the house and pass it on one day to my sons. But
or take it out on a special occasion, get a line wet, let it run for a minute, something like that.
Yeah. I may do that, but I ended up that guy sells jigs, so I had $100 cash on me, and I ended up buying $60 worth of jigs from him.
Perfect. I would have too. That's awesome.
Yeah. Because you can't. I mean, he hand makes those, and you can't really. I mean, nothing's handmade anymore.
Those are really popular down here too. I know a lot of the fishermen, they go to these guys local that make their own jigs for them.
Yeah.
Jiffy jigs or whatever. But there's a lot of guys here that put these things together. And like I said, these guys swear by that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about fishing. All I know is that you take the hook and you put the worm on there, and I get yelled at because I like I put the hook through the worm like 5 times into a little ball.
Yeah.
I get yelled at for that. So that's how I fish, with the bobber. I'm not there yet. But.
No. But yeah, those guys like that are dying. I mean, those guys won't exist in 15 years,
That's right. Yep. Our grandparents have forgotten, they've forgotten more about what they could have taught us than what we've seen, what we will accept,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the skill sets they do, the things that you have, like you said, with that kind of thing with the real, I'll bet he had, if you were in his garage or in his shop, you'd find those pencils that were completely rounded out in the middle from running line.
Yeah.
And sit, because it was, a different world, where they did this stuff,
Yeah. And just like that, he had another rod down there that wasn't worth $5, probably. And when I got down there, he was fixing it. Like he was looking for a piece for it. And that's just what he does. He finds things and fixes them and then lays them in his basement until a guy like me comes and buys it off of him,
Yeah.
So it was pretty neat. But I don't know though, Jason, like me and my buddy Scott, he called me this afternoon and we were talking about turkey hunting, and he came and hunted Indiana for opening week there. And we were just talking about his experience down here. And I don't know, he would, we were both kind of expressing some frustrations with just, I don't know, some of the, politeness of people in the woods that we've dealt with this year a little bit. And then we got to talking about, kind of the generation, after me, and how serious are they actually going to be about hunting in 10 or 15 years. And like he was saying, like maybe whenever guys like me are 50 years old, like will the woods kind of start to be empty again because, all the serious hunters are going to age out. I don't know. We worry about crowding and too many hunters, but I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think that one's a catch-22 with that. I mean, I know that we're losing hunter numbers. There's no doubt about it. There's less people getting into it, but we've also changed the mentality of it, which makes it harder because we don't have the properties that we once had, private or public. And we may have less hunter numbers, but one person today is a much bigger footprint than ever before. It used to be where most hunters had 4 ladder stands that they hunted all year. Or that was it basically. Now everybody's mobile. And one guy, I can go to a place and I can go to an out-of-state place for a week. And I promise you in 1 week, I'm going to hunt 13, 14, 15, 16 different spots. I'm never leaving the woods during daylight. I'll hunt 5 hours here. If it's good, I stay. If I don't, I move. But I mean, I am really destroying that entire area. If I bring a guy with me, I mean, we can wreck a couple thousand acres in a week and set the whole thing up. So when you take that reality of it and you spread it across the fewer hunters we have, it's a much bigger impact on the pressure aspect,
What age demographic do you typically see in the woods whenever you're running into people?
I'm going to say that they're older. I would say, I do run into a couple of young guys, the 20-year-olds kind of thing like that. But I would say on average, most of them are, slight half gray beard, somewhere in a 50 to 60 range kind of thing, 40, 50, 60s, that kind of thing on average.
I got to thinking about it after me and him got done talking. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, most of the guys that I run into or get on trail camera in the public land around here, a lot of them are in their 50s, I would say at least, and you always have, I mean, there's a few guys that are my age that run around, but man, I rarely run into somebody in their 20s.
Yeah. And usually when I see them, like down here, when I see them, it's because these guys got the legs, when you get older, you give up the legs, but you gain the knowledge, and that knowledge is very valuable.
Right. I know where they're at.
The work smart, not hard. But these guys that come in there and just power through this stuff, and they make it happen, and they get into some of those places.
I guess time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
Something else, he said a landowner, he has a farm that he can hunt in Kentucky, and he said a landowner called him and was expressing frustration with the amount of folks that were calling to ask to hunt. He's like, I don't know what it is about this year, but he's like, the amount of people that have driven down my lane and called me is just almost to an annoyance level. Yeah. And he was asking what he could do to make it stop,
Well, I mean, and you think about that, look at OnX even, every one of these, everything shows the landowner's name right there, and it's not hard to find who these people are, where it used to be back when I started, in order to get private land and figure out who it was, you either had to knock on the doors or you actually bought what was called a plat book. And you paid tremendous money for that plat book to find out the acreage size, the property lines, the people's names, phone numbers, and stuff like that to see, so you could actually save yourself a lot of door knocking with that plat book, and then you could pick which ones you wanted to go to. But today it's all electronic. It's all pretty easy. And also look at how popular leasing has become too. So even people that had access to, especially where you are too, and in the Midwest, if you had access to your uncle's or even a friend's 700 acres or 500 acres, and you were hunting exclusively because he let you. Now times are tough. Since COVID, all this stuff, things are hard out there. And then all of a sudden some guy knocks on his door and tells him, hey, we'll lease this property from you for so many thousands of dollars, and we'll put some hunters on it. Anybody in their right mind is going to be like, sure, I need the money. Give it to me. Sorry to you, because I know you liked hunting there, but now we're going to let this guy's going to handle everything.
Unless you can give me
money wins.
10 grand,
Yeah, right. Money wins. Yep.
Yeah, it does most of the time. Yeah. I don't know what the answer is. I've kind of I really respect what you've done with your channel about, not mentioning where you're hunting anymore and all that stuff. I think that's probably some stuff that us YouTubers need to be more conscious of. Because no matter how small, I'm a small channel, and I guess, you're bigger than me, but you're small too compared to some of them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call you a small channel by any stretch of them. I guess I'm not technically a small channel either in YouTube world, but it's like we're probably making some kind of a dent in it, So yeah, I've been thinking real hard about how, like, this next deer season, how I'm going to, juggle that ball in the air.
Yeah.
So
It's tricky too, because that's why I actually don't put any hunting stuff anymore on my YouTube channel. It's all goes on to Patreon, because of the fact that, well, then it's not demonetized, and the people that are in there, I'm not afraid for them to know what I'm doing and things like that kind of stuff. But again, like you said, general public, I got tired of, like the first time I went to Missouri, I started making those Missouri vlogs. They get 10, 15,000 views. And then the next thing you go there, all of a sudden now what was where you didn't have any pressure. Now there's 1 million people there. And then they're leaving notes on your windshield wipers and stuff. Hey, nice to see you. We're camping here. Swing by. I saw, and it's not that that's a bad thing, but all these people just kind of, the more you spread that information, the more people absorb it. And then the more people you have to run into. And it's not a bad thing, but it's, on the same note, you kind of, you're like, okay, I want to find a place where I'm not going to be, I don't want to be around a bunch of people, I got to find that corner somewhere. And when you do, you fight pretty hard to hold it. And you'd be amazed how many people, even in my Patreon, where I don't give out the exact locations I'm in, they'll message me and they'll be like, oh my God, I know exactly where you are. I actually got a stand. It's in the, I'm 1 holler over from there. I know exactly. I grew up here. I know. It's like, wow. I'm like, I showed 4 leaves in an oak tree, and now all of a sudden, where I'm at.
Yeah. It's happened to me around here. I had to be real careful around here. Is what it is though. I mean, and to be honest with you, like I'm just one person. Like, people think like my hunting content drives this channel. It really does not. Like, the percentage of views I get off of a hunting video is super small compared to these shows, and just other random stuff I do on YouTube, So it's like, I could take out all of my hunting content and it probably wouldn't change much of anything, I enjoyed making those videos, that's originally why I wanted to do. I like making hunting videos, but I've grown to like making other types of videos now. So
it's pretty crazy. Like, like that, like you said, when I would put a hunting video, a vlog, as I called them back then, but I would put a hunting vlog on my YouTube channel, it would get, like you said, 5, 6, 8, 10,000 views right off the bat. People would love this stuff. And it was great, but you couldn't monetize it because you got animals going down, things like that in there. YouTube would give you fits. But now I make these same things. I do them weekly on my Patreon channel, and on there, I'll spend 30 to anywhere from a half hour to an hour and a half making this vlog video, and I put it out there, and it might get like 80 views, on my Patreon channel. But they're legit people, and they're paying to see it. But it's funny. It's just like the difference, But I mean, it's a whole different ball game,
Yeah, but I guess what I was saying is like, big hunting channels like the Hunting Public or Seek One, or whoever, they have like teams of people out there, really. And like me and you can't really produce enough hunting content, like actual physically hunting, to really probably drive a channel. Like, me and you have to figure out other things to talk about other than just filming our hunts. I mean, maybe you now can because you're hunting all the time in Georgia, but like for me, it's like even turkey season. Like, I got one turkey tag. I do one turkey hunt, and it's like, now what I would put on here. So, I had to find other ideas and things to do for people, whether that be gear or just my thoughts or these podcasts. And
and we are both, for anybody, as people are listening, understand that the novelty of making videos on YouTube wore off like 10 years ago. The reason we do this is to make money. Okay. It's all about making money. Both of us make a living through content creation. And give you an example. If you look at my channel, if you take the top 50 videos out of, I don't know, whatever, 900,000, 50, I don't know how many videos I got, but a bunch. But if you were to take the top 50 of those videos, not one of them will be hunting.
Nope.
They're best truck for hunting, how to get your truck unstuck, what should you carry in your truck, how to set up a Kodiak canvas tent, have a Mr. Buddy heater in your house for emergencies. It's all this random other stuff is actually the videos that make money. The hunting stuff doesn't, it's a small niche, and it's a great thing. And there's some channels, like Deer Meat for Dinner and some of these other ones that, my God, they pump in serious views, like you said, the Hunting Public. But for most of us, like I said, trying to make a living at it, we just can't, it's hard to do on just hunting content. You need gear stuff. You need products. You need stuff that's going to actually help it out, and push it along. And That's, so that's what I do, especially in the off season right now. That's the other thing people don't realize. Our content is seasonal for the most part. My views, once you get to like February, my views drop pretty hardcore. And in July, they'll start bouncing back up. But I'm in that peak right now where, like I said, it's, almost sometimes not even worth putting out great hunting content because you get a third of the views you would normally get, so you put other stuff out there. That's why a lot of guys go fishing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you definitely have to think about what your audience is thinking about at the moment,
Yeah. Especially because you're doing it for a living. That's the kicker. This is mandatory. Like I said, I'm not making a video just to make it. I've done that, been there. That was fun. I expect to get paid for it.
Yeah. And some people have a problem with that. And that annoys me to no end sometimes. I let it get to me a little too much sometimes, but it's like, let me just do this for free, to take all this time away from my family and try to do, it's like I gotta make some money somehow on here,
Yeah.
But
and I used to bark at
minority.
Him. Yep. And I used to bark at him, or I'd like be derogatory, or I'd like kind of be snotty back to him in the comments when you hear this kind of stuff. And now I just skip right over him. I don't even care. It's like I don't even have the time or the energy with him. Between all three channels, it's like 30 something videos a week. And comments alone, I'm at 5 hours a day in comments between these things. 5 hours a day of comments. So you can bet that as soon as I see somebody with, oh, you should have just did this for that. Yeah. I'm just whipping right through them. I don't even give them the time of day anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even read them. Yep.
Most of them are just like probably 18-year-old kids too that have too much time on their hands on the internet,
or bots. From like on my truck channel, I hear a lot of them are bots that are actually doing this stuff. So, and it's funny because they talk behind the scenes. They're like, you're arguing with a bot, it's like,
it's insane. I've heard that too. I've heard that there's a lot of that going on in the internet world.
Yeah.
Probably is. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me one bit with AI and everything that they have the power to do,
Yeah,
that could be with anything, dude. I heard. I mean, they said a lot of the political stuff that happens on the internet is from places like Russia, where they just try to get people stirred up, and
Yep.
I have no idea if that's true or not, but it's just what I've heard.
Right. Yeah. Like our grandparents used to tell us: believe none of what you hear, or believe none of what you hear and half of what you see.
Yeah, that's right. You're probably a little more accurate if you follow those rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. How's your other channel doing? It always seems like it's doing great.
Truck channel's growing fast. It's doing really good, and it's kind of my lifeline right now. But I also I pound it video wise. Again, now that this is all I do for a living, no more photography. I've stopped that stuff when we got down here. I don't have the Amazon stores. There's just, so all it's doing is content creation. So that channel, I'm pumping it out big. I mean, I'm putting 21 videos a week on that channel. A week. That's 3 a day. And it's but it's going strong. It's doing really good. It's carrying a lot of weight. It's a whole different demographic than hunting stuff. In the hunting world, you like in our world, you get like your ratio of you get 8 great people for out of every 10 that comment or that you got to deal with. Mm-hmm. Where something as broad as pickup trucks and things like that, and all the I hate Ford, found on road dead, and Chevy and all the. It's more of like a 5-to-5 ratio. So you got a lot. Like I said, the comments get to be a headache to deal with a lot more, but. Channel's doing really good. And like I said, I love the Patreon channel because that's where all the diehards are for me. I mean, I know these guys by name. I know who they are. It's kind of like a big community. We love that aspect, so that one. So, but like I said, the content stuff, I straight up love it, but it's busy. People have no idea. Sometimes it's not uncommon for a day for me to be 14 hours just to do videos, and they don't get it. So.
Yeah. I was thinking about this today. How do you, because this is something I've been struggling with the last couple of weeks, is like, how do you prevent burnout? Because you just seem like you just keep going, Jason, and you've been going for like 15 years on this. I don't know when you started YouTube, but it's been a long time.
Yeah. And burnout's a big one. And I get a lot of writer's block, especially on my hunting channel. Now, the truck channel, never, because there's always so much content. There's a million. If I run out of truck stuff, I'll talk about SUV stuff. There's always something to talk about there. The hunting channel is very, very hard because I also try to not keep repeating content over again. But I'm talking about traditional bows here. I mean, there's not much on this thing. I can't talk about cam timing. I can't talk about, arrow rests and stabilizers.
Yeah.
I can talk about a string, and I can talk about a stick, and I can talk about an arrow, but I can do that. I can talk about all this in 4 episodes or 4 videos. And then what do I do? So that's that channel. That's a hard one to come up with the content for on a regular basis, which is why I quit doing a podcast. It's like, I could talk on a podcast for an hour and give people that information, or I could take that hour and I could turn it into 5 or 6 videos that I need, and videos pay me, podcasts don't. So that's the reason I stopped the podcast, rather than spend an hour giving it away for free, turn it into 5 videos, make money on it.
Yeah. And you've been doing a little bit of the podcast kind of when you're driving, like not that it's the podcast per se, but you've been doing some, I don't know, I listen to some of your stuff on your YouTube channel of just you driving with the GoPro going. Yeah, dash cam going. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do during hunting season. When it's close, when everybody's up and everybody's focusing on hunting. Where right now a lot of them are on golf and fishing and things like that.
Yeah.
But when it's closer to hunting season, I'll usually do 4 or 5 of them. As a podcast in there, and I'm traveling a lot more. It's the downside to where I am in the South. Everything I want to hunt, there is no just run out the back door. Where I'm located at, I am strategically located where I have like 8 great hunting areas around me. But the closest one is an hour, and then they go out to 2.5 hours. But I mean, down here, it is not uncommon for me to drive 2.5 hours, leave here at 3 a.m, drive 2.5 hours, hunt for a day, to be out there at 6 a.m., hunt all day, get done at 9, and then drive 2.5 hours home, and then get up and do it again the next day, or go to a different area, a different side, so That's a problem. But it does give me a lot of time in the car to make podcasts.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, I was enjoying those whenever you were doing them. No, I was thinking about that. I was picking Huck up from school, and I was like, I'm gonna have to talk to Jason about burnout, because I've been like, just the last couple of weeks, I've been like, golly, man.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm going through it. Like I said, the truck channel, I making 3 a day. That's hard. I mean, people don't understand. I mean, like I said, I'll last night, for example, by the time I got home from hunting, stuff like that, it was 10:30 at night by the time I got home, again, being an hour and 45 minutes away, dark at 8:30, got home, came in, took a shower, ate some food, watched some TV with Tina for a little bit, did some comments. Then last night at midnight, I went up to the car dealerships and I made 5 videos last night, And it's, I'm out there at 1 o'clock in the morning. Thank God for the bright lights, and it's a small town. They don't care. It's not like a big city where they're gated off,
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm up there and I'm making videos because I have no choice. I have to have these videos. Come back, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and now it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I got to have them ready to launch for the day. So it's 5:30 this morning when I went to bed. Then I got up at 7:30 because we had to go do a garage sale. It's like I said, people don't understand. And as content creators, we make less money than a guy, working fast food at the drive-thru. It's a different ballgame. Yep.
Yeah. Have you been messing around with your e-bikes anymore?
The e-bike thing is I'm very proud of the story of the e-bike.
Okay, let's hear it.
I love these things. I love them. But so I'm in the Midwest, and I can't remember the guy's name, but I actually ran into another Michigan hunter. I wish I could remember his name. He actually does a podcast too. I was talking to him. He was telling me, he's like, I got these, this company reached out to me about these e-bikes, and they're like, I'm like, okay. And so he's like, yeah, send me 3. And they did. And I'm like, I want an e-bike. I'm like, down here, an e-bike would be nice. They close these gates. It might be 9 miles from the gate back to where I want to go. It's road, but it's closed. There's no access other than foot or bike. So I'm like, I want one. So I reached out to this company. Well, in November, while I was on my Midwest trip, I sent them an email. Hey, would you like to send a bike to support the channel? I'll use it in videos, this kind of stuff. And they replied back and they said, no, we don't do that anymore. Our marketing budget. I'm like, okay, well, so it lit a fire. So I'm like, so long story short, in a week period, I sent out like 15 emails to bike companies. Not one responded back to me. I'm like, no, we ain't sending you nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. Well, then I guess I'm getting the exact one I want. So I bought it myself, got it. And as soon as I got it, I pumped out like 10 videos on this thing. boom, floodgates open. Here they all came. Now I got 5 of them.
Jeez, that's crazy.
They're like, hey, review my bike. Hey, review my bike. Yeah. It is really cool because now the one I bought is great, but I actually like a lot of the, it's nice now because I got to really see what I do and don't like. But I got lots of extra ones here. It was nice because like Foster just flew in from where he lives in Washington. He met up with James. James has his bike. They came over here and met up with me. I'm like, don't worry, Foster. I got extra bikes. I grabbed him another bike, threw it on a rack. We took that out there. So it's nice to have a couple of them laying around. And now I got one dedicated as a hunting bike. I got one with a child seat on there for my grandson that we go cruising down the back roads with that. That's fun. We got all dedicated something. But I love the e-bikes. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. They are cool. I got one, and they were. It's nice, like because a lot of this property around here I can hunt. It's nice just to be able to grab the bike and go and drive it real quick and throw it in the woods and go hunting, and then you're not worried about parking a truck somewhere or rutting up a field or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've come down in price. They used to be expensive.
Yep. The ones I got are range between $900 and $2,000, and so they're all Chinese bikes. They're all from somewhere over there. They're not like a Quiet Cat or a Rambo bike, but they work and they do really well, and I can't complain about them. But like James has a Quiet Cat. That bike's it's the Fang or whatever it is motor on. It's a beautiful bike. There's a quality difference there.
Yeah, right. Just what you want. Yeah. It's just, you want to pay $4,000 or
exactly. Right. Yeah. Different ball game, but they all did really well. They all work and do their job. Yep.
Yep. I'd like to have one though, like you have, where I could put Huck or Hayes on and go riding around with them. I think they would like that a lot.
It's one of his favorite things to do. Where I live at, we're a small 3-street town surrounded by ag out here, but it's peanut fields, things like that. But we literally right out in my backyard here, we go out there and then there's dirt roads. We can run about 9 miles of dirt roads through fields and things, and a couple of places have horses that are like right up at the road. It's one of his favorite things to do. I put him right on. You want to go for a ride? Yeah, go for a ride. Jumps in the bike seat on the back. We drive down those dirt roads and watch the horses and the deer in the fields. And oh my God, he absolutely loves it. It is well worth it. It's like a $63 seat on Amazon, and it's amazing. And it fits on any bike rack.
Okay, I may need to look into that.
Very well worth it. Yep.
Yeah. What was your Midwest hunt like this year? I haven't really talked to you about that in particular.
It was phenomenal considering I hunted 3 states and only one of them I've ever hunted before in that area. Now I've hunted one of them 25 years ago, but it was the first time in 25 years I've been back there to hunt. One of them I've hunted all 3 of them before, but over years ago. And, but so it was all new experiences where I was, and it was good. A lot of pressure, the rut, and I don't care where you go. The rut is busy. There's just people everywhere, every time. And again, a lot of them are really good hunters. So you're going to run into them. You can't go deep and get away from them because there's a deep crowd. You can't stay close to the road and hunt the overlook stuff because there's an overlook crowd. You can't, you can't hunt the leeward side because there's a leeward crowd. You can't hunt the windward side because there's a windward crowd. There used to be a leeward crowd that sounds a windward crowd because there's too many people on the leeward side.
Niches.
So there's always a lot of pressure, but it was a fantastic thing. I killed deer in every single state. I had a great time there, and it was good. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to do it again this year. Last year was 24 days, I think I was gone. This year I'm leaving a week even earlier, so it's going to be probably 30 days. 30 days gone and just nonstop hunting, and it's fantastic. The hardest part about it is making all the content to carry me through when I'm there. I can't stop producing content for 30 days. I'll go bankrupt. So, not only do I got to keep all the videos going, I have to make literally 200 extra videos before I leave, which is also during hunting season, to have them ready for that trip. It's brutal. It's I don't sleep at all in September and October. It's just not even an option.
Yeah. That's a lot, man.
Yeah, but it's worth it because 30 days living in a tent, hitting 4 different states, having a time of your life. And if I go somewhere and I don't like it, I just pack up and move and go to a different spot there, Yeah.
What gear things are you tinkering with this year?
I'm not changing a lot. I did get rid of my wall tent, mainly because I'm always the only one putting it up or taking it down. All these friends come and hunt with me. Like Joe will come in and hunt for 5 days. John will come in and hunt for 5 days. But they always get there after I set up camp, and they always leave before camp comes down.
Yeah.
So, but the wall tent was a pain. So I'm going to, this year, I told everybody, listen, when we hunt, bring your own tent. I got this really cool clamshell pop-up setup that'll be like the hub area, but I'm bringing my own Kodiak canvas tent, and this is where I'm going to be, and you got yours. And if I've got to bail early because I got here, if I tagged out in one state in 3 days and I want to leave and get to the other one, if we don't overlap as much, I don't want to be responsible for having to provide shelter for somebody on their vacation, you know?
Yeah.
So change some gear, a lot of gear for camping stuff. Started playing with the these power stations and some of these LiPo 4 batteries that I got rigged up in my trailer now that'll run everything. You know, a lot of that kind of stuff to keep things going, but it's a lot of that kind of gear. Tree stands. You know, I still have 2 assaults. I sold my Lone Wolf 1.0, sold the beast stand. I have one Rubicon. I'm buying another Rubicon. I love that Rubicon stand. I love that seat, that mesh seat. It's just, and for the money, you just can't. Oh my God. I brought that with me. I got that Rubicon stand at XOP Rubicon. I brought it with me and 2 Lone Wolf assaults on my Midwest trip. And my intention was, we'll give it a shot, see what it's like, and then I'll go to my assault stand. I never once touched the assault stand on that trip ever, and never even wanted to. You know,
XOP.
Yeah, that seat is just super comfortable. I mean, the stand is really good quality too. We're not talking a level of Lone Wolf or B stand kind of level of stuff, but I don't need it to be. It's a tree stand. I don't need it to be fancy and all that stuff. And it's more AK than AR, but it's really good at what it does. You know, it's pretty unstoppable. I really like it a lot. And the mesh seat, I straight up love it. I don't like the cushion on it as a short guy. It comes with a cushion you put on there too, but it makes it too tall for me. I'm not real comfortable. But for me, with the mesh seat, it just fits really good. So I'm going to run just those stands this year. Is it still running my Lone Wolf 3-step folding sticks? I love those. They just fit on a stand so good, you know, for me. I like the way they all come together. Tactus saddle harnesses. I'm really not changing a lot. You know, I'm not much I'm going to mess with. The system works for me. It's old school. I know a lot of people like to tinker and reinvent the wheel and come up with something new and cooler and save a couple of pounds or an ounce. And I 100% get it. But for me, it's just, it's like old hat, old shoe. It just fits and I know it. I can do it in the dark. I don't need to, you know, it's a thing that you can, you know, I don't know. It's like your bows. You can have 2 identical compound bows for you as an example. And if I blindfolded you and put one in your hand and before I even told you to shoot it, you'd know which one it was. Yeah. Even though they're both exactly the same, made on the same assembly line. It's the same way for me. I like that feeling of it. Just running the same system over and over again all the time. And it makes for it very efficient. You know, I mean, 51 years old and I can still put a stand up in under 3 minutes. It feels good, you know, and if I start tinkering with other things, I lose that ability, you know?
Yeah. I mean, in our consumerism society that we live into, we do lose that, like we forget how important it is to be efficient. You know, it's like cool to have all the new stuff or get something new and exciting, but it's like, it takes you a month to figure out how it works. And then, you know, it's like, is it really worth it? I don't know. Maybe not though.
Right. And then especially down here, you know, down here is important. I remember when I moved down here, my first deer season, I'm like, I'm going to carry a spare t-shirt and a Ziploc bag and a spare deodorant and a couple of, you know, like the scent-free dude wipes. When I get to my stand and I'm all sweated down, I'm going to clean up real good, put a new fresh shirt on, and I'll be all ready to go. And this will be great. And then you get here and you do that and you realize that just sitting in your stand, you actually sweat more than you did walking in because it's just so hot. You can't, it's like, this was the biggest waste of my time. I'm actually more soaked now than I was when I was coming in and actually walked a little breeze into my face, you know. It's a different ball game, you know. So down here, though, that efficiency, every little bit matters, you know. Yeah,
it does. It really does. That's good. I always like to talk to you about gear. I'm always wondering what's in your mind or what's coming around the corner.
Yep. Simple's winning for me. The simpler, the better. That's just kind of the attitude I got on it. Even frame packs. Like, you remember, like when I used to do all the Midwest trips, I'd always bring a frame pack. I had that Exo Mountain pack. I loved it. I got the Mystery Ranch pack still, and I would set that up, and that way I'd be ready to carry deer out and that kind of stuff. I'd rather just use my Venture 2300 bag and figure out how to haul deer out in it. And I did. It's a different system, but now I don't have to complicate things and worry about the little stuff. A frame pack has a really super stiff hip belt on it. Trying to pull that up through the branches on your rope and it's snagging on everything and fighting you. These little things just matter. I'd rather pull up a pack that's got a softer hip belt so it doesn't snag coming through the branches. And so how do I make that work for packing deer out? It's all that little stuff, tinkering with this, tinkering with that kind of thing, to just, again, efficiency is the big one for me, making it all work and good.
Yeah. That's one thing I get asked more than about anything else is what frame pack I should buy for hauling deer out. Yeah. And I have a dang Stone Glacier. It's like a $700 backpack, that I bought whenever, 10 years ago when I started elk hunting. I'm like, I wouldn't buy the one I have. Like, if you're just going to be packing 2 deer out a year, like, just get a whatever, Yeah. I don't know. Don't buy a $700 one though for that. I mean, I guess if you got the money, go ahead. But
right.
If you're just going to be deer hunting with it, it's not really necessary.
Yep.
You can suffer through anything for a mile or however long you got to carry something.
Yeah.
Because it's comfortable with those nice frame packs. It's super. They do hold loads very well, but you could do it with anything.
Yeah.
It's going to be better than dragging it out. That's for sure. I promise you that.
I got one place down here that I hunt that requires you to take your deer out whole. And when I say whole, I mean during certain times when they're collecting data, I mean whole, like you can't even field dress it.
Oh
you know how hard it is to be back in there 2 miles and think about the fact that here's a doe that if you shoot her, you got to get her out whole. It's like this. But other than that, I mean, other than some of those places, I mean, I'm boning deer out. I'm not. My days of dragging are long behind me. Not worth it.
Yeah. Now, like if we kill one on the private around here, that's not a big deal. But like on the public around here, it just would. I mean, there's no sense in it. Just cut it up and get it out of there. In Indiana, you just have to check them in is what they require before you start cutting on them, which that's not a big deal with just go find you some cell service and check the thing in real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I probably started packing them out it's probably been about 5 years ago, I guess. And I've done all of them now that's just how I do it now.
I remember being with you when that you killed that doe in Michigan, northern Michigan. We came up there, I was with you, and you did it. Yeah, and it works good and fast, and it's easy. You think about it, if you by the time you can pull your pack off, get your gear out of your pack, put on your gloves, and if you're going to field dress a deer just to gut a deer out, let's say it takes you 10 minutes. Total time, for you to do this process, pack everything up, put your gloves inside the cavity. You're not leaving any of that stuff. Clean up, get everything ready, and start dragging. You're 10 minutes in, and then once you get it home, you got to hang the deer. You're gonna have to ice the deer. You got to do all this stuff to it. Where you could just simply bone a deer out in 35 minutes, can be completely done. Carry it out on your back. When you get home, just open a freezer and chuck the thing in there, and you're done until you're ready to work on it. It's done. It's that easy.
Yeah. Yeah. If any of you listening haven't thought about packing a deer out, that's the way to do it.
Well, and down here, where you are in Indiana, but when you get into hill country, I mean, there's no possible way you're dragging some of these things out. And I hear these guys, I built up this chainsaw winch that I hook on a tree and I pull this thing and it's a chainsaw motor and it'll drag. So that's, I can just walk right down there, cut this thing up, throw it in my back and just hike right on out of here. It's just a lot easier. Yep.
Yeah. Someone was asking, do you know what the still is that Razor Broadheads use, Jason? That sounds like might be right up your alley on what you could.
It's either A2 or S7. I can't remember which one. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I got a pack right here. I got packs. Packs. Let me see. What does it say on here? Does it say? Oh, it doesn't say on them. On the package, it doesn't say. I'm not 100% sure. I know it says on their website, though.
Yeah, go on there and check it out.
Yep.
I should probably know that, but I'm pretty sure it's A2.
Yep, I think it's A2 is what I think it is also. I think they compared A2 and S7 and they were looking at the properties, and I think they went A2 for the little bit easier sharpening, if I'm not mistaken, from back in the day. But I'm pretty sure it's A2, I think.
I'm gonna look real quick. I got their website up right here.
There you go.
Let's see here. Well, if it would cooperate here.
I know they're a little tougher to sharpen. They're not as bad as some, but they take a little bit of work to sharpen them up when you dull them out. You're not going to just take it, hit it on a ceramic rod 5 times and be done with it. It's going to take you 10 minutes to get that head back, but they hold their edge really well. Compared to like the high carbon content heads like we've been shooting for all these years, where literally every 4 days I have to pull everything out of my quiver and touch them up. I don't have to do that as often with these. They hold the edge really well, but when you do dull them, stick them in the dirt, they take a little bit of punch to get them back.
Yeah, A2 steel is what they use.
Yeah.
Wildlife Driven had a question too. He says, I'm new to traditional bow hunting and was curious how exactly y'all twist your bowstrings after they stretch. I just take them off and twist it whichever way the bowstring's twisting.
Yep, that's a fantastic question, and that's you want to measure. The key thing is your brace height, which is going to be measured the distance from your grip to your string. That's your brace height, and if you have to adjust that, what I do too is I unstring the bow. When you unstring it, your upper limb or your where's my camera? There it is. This is going to slide down. This loop slides down. So just leave that on there. Pop the bottom knock right here. Just pop that right off and then give it another couple of twists. Put it back on if you need to loosen it. But I just pop the bottom tip off. Notice that stealth strips. Look at that right there. I don't use those rubber bow tips anymore. Just put some stealth strip on there. I got so tired of losing rubber bow tips.
Oh, they're a pain.
I just put a couple wraps and left it hang off and close on the end. It's like cushioned. Where's my camera? But it's like, oh my God, I love this. Stealth strips for the win. Uncle Lou telling you, best stuff ever made. And it works incredible. And I can slip my my string over it and just loosen it. But I love that. But that's how I do it. If I need to adjust that brace height, I just unstring the bow, pop the bottom link or string loop off, give it a couple twists, put it back on, remeasure it.
Go over your bow with everybody, Jason.
It's I use the Northern Mist Classics. That's who makes them. It's Northern Mist. I shoot it. It's this is called the classic model because it is straight grip and the limbs are actually straight. If this is unstrung, that limb is 100% straight. There is no reflex or deflex in that limb. So that's basically what I'm using there. And 57 pounds at my 26 inches of draw and 64 inches long. And but that's it right there. Simple, easy, just classic longbow. Creek Walker Trading, Donnie, he builds these quivers. Yeah. I love his quivers. What I like is how the gripper is here and the hood is over here. See how that spacing is?
Yeah.
And same down here. Look at how far that spacing is between the gripper part and the arrow gripper, where it attaches. So It gives me that contact points of these are inside of the fade outs. Yet I get all that extra distance to where my gripper is here and where my hood is, makes those arrows super stable. So I love the setup and the combo. And he custom built that for me. And I got the snake skin on there. It's timber rattle or snake skin.
Oh, that's cool.
On there. And then I don't know what the wood, I don't know what this wood is on the backside, whatever he made it out of. But love the setup. You can see he's got that gap, that hole right there. Mm-hmm. So you shoot, you don't got to worry about it. And even when I'm carrying it through the woods, it fits my hand in there perfect, and it keeps that bow from rolling. I love the quiver. Love the bow. Love the setup. 750 grain arrows. Work like a champ. And razor broadheads. Like I said, I really like the razors. Yeah.
Do you still use your inserts where you glue two of them in, or have you gone to just the components that you can buy now?
I actually kind of both, I guess would be the best way to put it. I have here, they had some sales. I'm looking to find one of them ones right here to show you. And I'm probably do not. But what I would do is I would take your brass inserts, your standard brass inserts, and I would put them together like this. So they'd go in, but then I would use a grinder and grind this off. So it was one whole length insert. I would put a finish nail into those holes in there, put them on a dowel, a steel punch and a steel punch and bash them so it locked in and glue them together. And so I was making my own with that. But Ethics has these. So Ethics has got all these new ones. So when they had their deals in Black Friday, I think I bought like 8 dozen of them. So I got tons. So when I make arrows again, I'm going to those is what I'm going to use. I just haven't got around to it yet. But,
they'll work fine.
Well, when I started making these, there was no Ethics archery.
Yeah, right.
Stuff, it was fend for yourself. That was back when I would take a steel piece of, like that threaded rod, cut it to length, wrap it in duct tape, epoxy it, and stuff it behind your insert to add that weight in there.
Yeah.
We did all that stuff.
Back in the day, they used to take like they would cut old aluminum arrows up and like put them over top of the shafts and everything else,
For outserts.
Yeah, outserts. Yep. Yeah. Before there was such a thing as outserts.
Yep.
You can find deals now and stuff like. I bought a bunch of arrows off of Black Eagle this year. They had a heck of a deal on some of their traditional arrows. They had them like a dozen for $50, and that's what I'm shooting this year is those Black Eagles. And I got enough now. I bought several dozen. I don't, it'll last me a while because I'm not hunting hogs every day. But
right. Well, and that's the other downside of being in the swamp is the fact that, when you're hunting from a tree stand all the time, if you miss, your arrow's just sitting right there.
Yeah.
Okay, here, I mean, if I miss or I get a deflection or even if I blow right through them, you may never see that arrow ever again.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
Yeah.
And so you go through a lot. I find myself spending a lot more money in broadheads and arrows now.
Yeah.
Comparatively. So that's kind of a bummer. But I remember back, I even put an article in Traditional Bow Hunter probably 25 years ago, but I remember making an article about stuffing your own arrows. So we would take these aluminum arrows, like XX75 aluminum arrows, and to get the weight up, I would stuff them with a yellow poly cord that you would buy at the hardware store, poly rope. You could stuff that in there, pack it down, jam it. I had a 2x4 in the living room and wham, and trying to get this rope to drop in there, get it set, you get that weight right, but it would add 120 grains of weight to your arrow. And it was, and we weren't pushing too much for FOC. We just wanted the arrow weight. And I shoot those, and then you shoot a deer. That arrow go into that deer, and he'd snap that arm back, and he'd break that shaft off, and he'd take off. But there'd be this yellow rope hanging out that long on the side of him. It was like perfect for trailing them. I mean, we did so many different things in a day before all these fancy, cool components were around.
Yeah. I know. I had Monty Browning on. You know who that is, don't you? You know who Monty Browning is?
What a guy. Yep.
I was going to say, yeah. It's been a while ago now. And he was talking about how he used to shoot fiberglass fishing arrows is what he shot.
Yep. He'd just go buy the regular white fishing arrows and fletch them up, 1,400 grains. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what he used for all of his buffalo hunts and all that kind of stuff. 1,400 grain fish arrows.
Like 70 or 80 pound longbow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's a tree trimmer for a living. This is a guy, I mean, he's spent his whole life climbing trees and running. I mean, he's a beast of a guy. Man,
he's a giant man too.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, he's still doing it. He was, before we got on the show, he was trimming tree. He was up on some tree topping a tree.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he is now exactly, but he's got to be in his 70s.
Too old to be climbing trees 50 feet in the air, single lining. But I mean, he's a machine. He just gets it done nonstop. Yep.
Yeah. Guys with lots of life experience, I love talking to him. And like Robert Carter, we had him on too. I love talking to those guys that just kind of not live in the past, but like just, society changed and they kind of kept going how they thought was right,
Right. And like Robert, I hunt with Robert a lot. And he's one of those guys that you have to be watching him all the time because he's not one that's going to stop and tell you stuff unless you ask, he will. But he just, the things that he does, you're just like, wait, what? No, wait, is he? He is. You're constantly just in awe at the little things that is so second nature to somebody like that.
Yeah.
When you watch him move through these swamps, you watch the way he goes, you watch the lines that he takes, you watch just the little things that he does. If this stump is rotted out and the sun's hitting it on the other side, you'll see him double kick it, boom, boom, before he steps over. You're like, what he's doing. He's making sure there's no snakes in there, right? Yeah. But he knows it's only that log. He won't do it to the next 5. It's just watching the things that they do and learning from them. The guys they're like I said, they're machines. This is life to them. Every single minute of every single day.
Yep, it is. Pharrell had a question too here. He said, what difference do you see between big woods up north compared to big woods down south?
That's a very good question. The big difference is up north, you don't have the, well, I shouldn't say, because there are places that do, but what Midwest and even into the north, we expect to know what bedding areas are because we have, whether it be an overcut, a clear cut, an overgrowth area, whatever it is, we have Christmas tree pines, as I would call them, whatever that happen, we have something that is designated as bedding areas for these deer. Or you have the hilltops where they're going to be on the points on the leeward side. We know what bedding is. Down here, because of the fact that we have briar thickets that are insane. We got what is that? Starts with a P. These patches, these super thick patches of and deer love eating
like
it.
Palmettos or
no, not that. But there's God, I can't think of the word. But anyway, we have these brushy patches. We also have huge areas of that, but we also have palmetto thickets, like you said, where it's super thick. We got river cane thickets. Point is that if you were to take a square mile down here, that square mile, 99% of it is bedding area with feeding areas and bottoms and some of the feed areas that are throughout there. But it's pretty much all bedding area, where when you're up in the Midwest, 90% of it is huntable because it's a terrain feature of some kind or an area they're not going to go, or where they're going to use this transition line or something, and then you have your bedding and your feeding areas, where down here it's all bedding. Everywhere is bedding. That's what makes it hard, trying to figure it out. And then we have, don't forget, like up north, you got white oaks, red oaks, pin oaks. That was basically it, kind of thing. Down here, we have oaks. We got overcups that'll kick in, and they'll kick in the end of July, and we'll have water oaks still dropping in February. So we have oaks, and we got like 7 different species of oaks hitting all the time. So for during our entire hunting season, there are oaks constantly going, and they're always in. Every oak is basically, for the most part, a lot of them, they're surrounded by thick cover. It's like, and with the pressure these animals have, one problem I have that I struggle with is when we want to hunt feed trees, like up north, you find a hot white oak, you set up on that white oak, and you're going to usually get into deer. They're going to come to that tree. Down here, these deer they know the game. And usually, for every time you set up on a feed tree, it seems like 7 out of 10 of those times, these deer are circling downwind to you and blowing at you before they're just not coming into that tree without coming in downwind. They're educated, just like a deer up north would be on a bait pile. Remember how up there back in the 80s and the 90s, what we would do is we would set out bait, but then we would actually go and we would hunt 50 yards downwind of it and catch them when they circle 30 yards down as they scent check it. That's almost how this year I'm going to spend a lot of my time hunting feed trees rather than sitting on a tree and watching them blow at me from downwind. I'm going to start going down there I'm going to hunt that same kind of tactic with the feed trees down here this year. That'll be my number one goal, because I'm so tired of getting busted as deer circle downwind of me.
Yeah, I want to get down there and hunt deer sometime. I've hunted hog down there, but just not always on. Like I say I want to, but it's never like a big priority.
Right.
I'll go to Kansas.
You're right. It's you don't see a lot of people rushing down to the south to go hunt deer,
But
it's amazing, but it's a different ballgame. It's not there. But I will say that if you come down here and you start getting this place will teach you a whole bunch. Not by choice. It's just going to be forced. You're going to learn it, and it'll make you a better hunter. Yeah.
I just want to, experience a new type of deer hunting, Tennessee is on that line where it's like, it is the South, but it's just a little bit, there's still, I don't feel like I'm not in the Midwest when I'm in Tennessee hunting, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, I love Tennessee. Tennessee is such a great place.
I
love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I'll just stop there. Work on my restraint from
sharing.
Yeah. But I enjoy going down there. It's not, I'm talking it up like it's something special or something. It's not like a Iowa or Kansas or anything like that. It's just, mostly I like going down there because my buddy Patrick's down there. That's what it boils down to. But
I like some of those sleeper states though too. Like I said, I mean, we put in for Kansas again. I put in for Kansas again this year. I didn't get it last year. Like I said, there was a time I got it like 8 years in a row. And then here comes the flood again of more people. Now you're lucky if you, as a matter of fact, I just got done reading it. Kansas is going to be like Iowa, where they're expecting it within the next couple of years. You're going to be on a 4-year cycle for Kansas.
Yeah.
That's horrible. I'm already 50. John, who I hunt with, is 60. He's 60 years old. He doesn't have a whole bunch of 4-year cycles left. He's going to be running around out there, and it's upsetting. And so, I mean, I like it there, but the pressure's just as bad in that draw state in Kansas as it is as any other public state I go to.
Yep.
So, on public land. So it's like some of the sleeper states interest me even more. I'm not killing, I'm not seeing, 160-inch deer every single day, but, I can't eat those antlers anyway. I don't care. And honestly, I'm at that point in my life, which people get mad at, but, if I'm out of state and I got a buck tag that I have to use, and I shoot it, and it's a 100-inch deer or 90-inch deer, whatever case is. If I don't want to take those antlers off and take them out with me, I'm not taking them. I don't do nothing with them anymore. I don't have any place else to put them. My garage has still got 5 racks that are hanging in there still that I have never done anything with. I don't have that. I still got storage unit bins full of antlers and mounts. I'm not putting them up no more. So to me, those antlers don't mean a whole lot. If I got a 180-inch whitetail standing there at 20 yards and I got a spike right here with one cow spike just like that right here at 10, that spike is in my cooler, I promise. That's awesome. I swear to God. And if I got footage of the big guy, even better. But I mean, I'm not happening.
I'm with you on the antler thing. I've thought about this 100 times the last couple of years. It's like, man, because I used to mount my deer. I used to like to mount them. Now I hate mounting them. I'm just like, it's $600 or more. It's, I have no space to put them anywhere. They're just going to rot in my barn somewhere, and my kids are going to throw them away one day.
Nobody wants them when you're gone. Now, one person wants them when you're gone. They're going to just throw them out. They're literally going to throw, or they're going to sell them at a garage sale, so it ends up in a bar somewhere with sunglasses and a cigarette in its mouth.
Yeah,
it'll end
up in a Cracker Barrel somewhere.
Right, exactly.
One of them old decrepit deer they have hanging in there.
Yep. Now, no offense. I do believe that they are great because remember, when you mount it, you're mounting it for you and you get to see those memories. And every room of my house, we have antlers somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And every time you look at them, they do remind, and it takes you back. And I understand taxidermy for that. And I love the fact that it is that. And you get to see these and you get to enjoy them because they are yours, and that's what matters. So I think they're money well spent. I think they're a great thing to do. I love the idea of a trophy room. I had it when I lived in Michigan and I had more space. I'm in half the size house now. I'm retired. I don't have that option. And we just don't, like I said, I've stared at them for so many years. Even the bear I had, that full-size, life-size bear, I gave it to a pizza shop in Grayling, and now they have kids that come up to it and take pictures with it all the time. It's a great thing. I'm glad it's there, but it's it's not stuff that matter anymore, kind of thing,
Yeah. I agree with you. Of course, I understand how. I mean, if I would kill a big, like a Boone and Crockett deer or something, I would get him mounted. And maybe, when I was in my 20s, the 120-inch deer was more important to me than it is now. Maybe that's a little bit of it too. But I also like killing. I'm kind of like you. I'm not a trophy hunter per se. Like, these up here are not trophies to most hunters nowadays. These 110 to 120-inch deer, they're not.
Right. And those guys, who cares? What they like? If I had a choice through the season to take 5 does or take one big buck, I'm taking 5 does all day long. And no offense to the bucks, and I get it, and people want them, and I understand the challenge, and I love that. Like Dan Info, he says, it's a different way to hunt. It is a different lifestyle, and I get it, and I respect it. But on the same note, for me, I mean, I know you have. It's no fun eating a 5-year-old deer. It's not your favorite steak, it's not, and I'd rather take the does if I have the choice, and I get to see a bunch more of them, and they're with me all day, and they make my day go by quick, and they're there, and I want them, and I'm happy with it. So it makes me good.
It is sad that's how, that's frowned upon in the deer hunting world now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, I'm sure you get it all the time in the comment section.
Yep. One of the things I love about hog hunting is now here's an example. Down here, true Southern guys that live down here and hunt hogs regularly, they'll laugh at you if you kill a 300-pound hog. Okay, or a 200-pound, big 200-pound boar, 180-pound boar. They're laughing at you. They're like, okay, well, good, have fun cleaning that. Hope you got, you'll be pinching your nose, fighting it the whole time. You'll get it done. You'll almost gag half the time. You got to cook the meat. It's still good to eat, but these guys are like, no, give me that 80-pounder right there. Give me that little one. That's what I want because it's perfect for eating. It's a different world. So in the world of hogs, for people that live it, you're taking the eaters, basically, is the best way to put it. There is no trophy hog hunting down here like that. People that don't care, they'd rather, this one's easier to pack out. It's easier to process. It tastes better. This is what I'm eating. In the deer world, if it doesn't have bigger antlers, then we don't want it. You're judged by the antlers. You're judged as a hunter by the size of the antlers that were on your deer.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just sad to me a little bit. Like my grandpa, you're talking like my grandpa whenever things were just different back then. And I don't know, I probably just am nostalgic with that kind of thing. But like, dude, my grandpa would yell at me for passing deer. Like that's the only time he's ever got mad at me is whenever he's like, he knew I passed a basket rack 6-pointer or whatever it was, he would get plumb irritated with me about that.
Grandpa's got spots on him. Rub them in the dirt.
I don't have a tag. We'll find you a tag. Stuff like that. You may not see another one this year. What are you doing?
Yep.
But the attitude, or I don't know if the attitude, but just the I don't know. Maybe it was less of an ego back then, or less of a this is about me and more about I'm trying to get meat for the family. Or I don't know what it was, but it's different now for sure.
You know what I think it was, honestly? I think it was because back then it was two ways that your deer were showed to your family and your friends only. Not only people that saw it. You took it to a local buck pull if you got a good one, and you hung it in town and people got to see it and be part of that. And that was kind of a cool experience, but it was very confined to your little world. So it didn't matter. Your friends don't care. Even today, your friends don't care what kind of deer you kill. So it was confined. Now with social media and content, and even the influencers on social media and the people that just got to feel like there's something with this stuff, or they some sort of status to this, and it spreads big and wide that if you don't kill a 120-inch deer, you're not a real hunter. This kind of stuff that we've seen, same with the gear stuff. Look at how it was, now it's toned down because there's so many more, but go back a decade and look at the fact that if you weren't in Kuyu, First Light, or you weren't in Sitka, you were nobody. You didn't know how to hunt if you weren't in that stuff every single second. Again, it's all people wanting to prove something, and it's not a bad thing, but it's a stigma that just goes with it. It follows it. It's a stereotype now.
Like none of those companies, I don't think they had like the intention initially that was their goal of this.
Right.
I think they literally were wanting to make good products for people to use to help people hunt. But then it's like then the hunting world turns it into some kind of an ego. Yeah, it's like an ego thing. Like I got to look like this.
Yep, exactly.
Steve Rinell or whoever,
Right. And their clothes are phenomenal. I got to tell you, they are absolutely incredible in there with these amazing materials, and they work, and I get it. And, there's nothing wrong with that stuff at all. And there's nothing wrong with the trophy hunters either. Like I said, it's a whole different mindset for these guys that do that. But I do definitely get upset with the people that act like if somebody doesn't kill this kind of a deer, you're nobody. If you're not putting at least $1 a year down, you're not good. I get tired of that whole stigma kind of thing right there like that. And it's funny because you look at how the demographics for deer are in different places. Like it's a very rare day that I've ever heard anybody that hunts Iowa and Kansas ever rip on somebody in another state for not shooting a big deer, because these guys kill them all the time. They understand that. But how many times you hear somebody that, that lives in the Midwest goes out to Kansas, or lives somewhere else, goes to Kansas, kills a big deer, and now all of a sudden he's an expert hunter. You know what I mean? It's like it's a different world. So, we take it all with a grain of salt.
We Dave from Razor Broadheads.
Razor Dave, that sticks. I'm using
right
now. Razor Dave.
Never in our friend group, that's how we refer to him sometimes, but we all have our nicknames. But he met a farmer in Kansas that lets us stay in his cabin. He has a cabin out there. Anyway, like certain people or certain, whoever went out to Kansas and they killed 170-inch deer. And now they're, like you said, like a famous, or they're known as a great deer hunter, and maybe they are, but
Rich Rampola.
Yeah, right. But like, I guarantee you in Kansas, just from the few people that I've walked into their houses that are just like farmers or ranch hands, you go in their houses and you're like, oh, there's like a dozen 170-inch deer in here, and there's a 200-inch deer over there. And it's just like, you're right. Success is for deer hunting is based very much so how good of a spot you have to hunt,
Yeah.
If you're in Georgia on public land, you're not going to kill as big a deer if you're on a private farm in Kansas,
For sure.
Yeah, that's something I wish we could get better at in the deer hunting community, is just the not putting so much of our own biases or our own thoughts onto how other people deer hunt,
Yep. It's like that with anything. I mean, if we were into rollerblading, somehow we would have the same thing. It makes no difference. It's just human nature to be competitive, and I get it and I understand it, but I just don't think hunting should be that way. Like I said, everybody's in it for different things. Enjoy it. Get out there, have fun. The only competition is against yourself. But like I said, I don't get on social media much anymore, so I don't see it like I used to.
Yeah.
But it would always bring me down during hunting season. Somebody's holding, shoots a 3-point or a 4-point deer, something like that, something little, and you get these comments on there, and people, oh, you should have let him walk, should have let him go. It's like no, shut up.
Yeah. There was a guy that I was talking to about traditional bows, and he was like, I'm going to buy one of these things, and I'm going to just, this was like in August or September, he's like, I'm going to buy one of these things, and I'm just going to use it to kind of show people it ain't that hard to kill one with a traditional bow. And I'm like, all right. I think he went and shot it like twice and was like, oh, okay, never mind. Didn't buy one, So like, there's a whole another level of, I don't know. It's just, everybody does things different. And just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're the expert at other things,
Yep. And like I said, the key thing is none of us care if you're good or not, as long as you're having fun and helping people. We honestly don't care. I mean, no, I don't think anybody would care if I never shot a deer or a hog ever again. They're still going to follow me. They're still going to want to see videos. They don't care. It's all in our own minds that we fear, whether somebody's going to approve of what we do. Do we still look like we can do it? Are we still good enough? It's all self-inflicted.
Oh, it is. Yeah. It's our egos. Everybody has such inflated egos now. And I think most of it's because of social media, like you said. So I try to keep that in check with myself a lot. Just like, okay, do I really want this, or is this just me trying to please someone that I don't even know?
John from Tack to Saddle, he says it every year. He'll talk and he'll get a deer down. He'll be like, or he won't. We're getting ready to leave. He uses a phrase every year, and he always says, he's like, it'd be nice to just get one down and get the pressure off before I go for this trip. Or he'll get one down. He'll say, oh, it's nice to have the pressure off. Now he's giving this look like there is no pressure.
Right.
You're thinking about, he's like, I know, but I'm like, yeah, but nothing. You can go to the grocery store and buy steak if you need to.
Yeah, right.
You're supposed to be having fun. Get the pressure out of your head. That pressure is what makes misses and what puts to, it's supposed to be fun. Forget the pressure. If you go a whole season and you don't even get a shot, it's okay. But with that said, me and every single one of us are like, oh, come on, I got like 4 days left. So.
Well, and that's the thing is like, we do that with everything in life though, Jason, like everybody. And the funny thing is you're always worried about so much stuff, and everybody else is worried about their stuff. They don't even know what you're worried about. It's just like, we're all in this vicious cycle where, we're all worried about ourselves so much that nobody even cares what everybody else is doing, and it's like, I don't know.
when we drive down the roads. I remember when we're talking in an old Lincoln and where the tires would hit the boom, 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 boom. I can remember this playing this day. I was, God, I had to be probably 12, 15 years old. My grandpa, and one of his favorite states when we were down in lower Michigan, Detroit area there, but we'd drive by and you'd see some of these people that were like under the overpasses, homeless people, that kind of stuff. He'd always say, he's going to live to be 100. Is what he'd always say.
Not a worry in the world.
Not a care in the world. Not enough. And his whole world's in a shopping cart or in a duffel bag, and he can take it anywhere he wants. He has zero fears. He's not a slave to anybody, doesn't know anybody anything, not a care in the world, not a hiccup, not a nothing. If he wants to sleep, he lays down and he goes to sleep. He goes to the bathroom, walks over and goes to the bathroom. He doesn't wait in line. He does, it's like I said, it's not a bad way to live.
No. There's probably a line you need to at least,
Right. But when you look at it versus what our world is today for every one of us, you kind of look at them in a different mindset there,
Yep. That's funny. All right. We've been on here for an hour and a half or more now. So.
Yep. My light's dying too. I'm down to 1. I had 3 going. I'm down to 1.
Perfect. Well, good time to stop.
I got it right here. It's like right on me now. I'm nursing everything I got. Pretty soon I'm going to have to pull my lighter out and all that here and
that's funny.
My lighter.
I linked your 2 YouTube channels in the comments below, Jason. And then you got a Patreon too, right?
Yeah. Appreciate it.
I wasn't sure how to link the Patreon, but I can figure it out. I think if you go over to your YouTube channel, it's probably linked in there too, right?
It's in every video I put out. It is in the description. It takes you to any one of my channels in any video. Yep.
So go over and check Jason's stuff out. Thanks, man.
I appreciate it. It's fun. Like I said, I love it. I mean, always a good time. A lot of time we just do this on the phone randomly, but it's nice to actually.
Yeah, right. Every now and then we just record one of our conversations.
Yeah.
And everybody, next episode is my 200th episode, which for some reason I feel like that's a big deal. But I'm going to do a giveaway podcast. So I'll collect a bunch of this crap I got laying around that people have sent me or just stuff I need to get rid of. And we'll just sit down for an hour and give it away to all y'all for a thanks for hanging in here for 200 episodes. So that'll be Thursday. And then we got Jonathan Moreland coming on to talk about, he killed a deer with a spear this year. Andy Mays coming on, Bo Martonic. We got a bunch of people lined up. We've been working on people lining up this week. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up of what to look forward to. But thanks, Jason. Thanks, everybody, for hopping on tonight. Bye.
I appreciate it. Thanks again for having me.
Mm-hmm.